The veil between worlds is thinner than most realize, dear seekers of truth. This knowledge was not hidden from Helena, who became the vessel through which the ascended masters shared their timeless wisdom about the afterlife journey. What many fail to understand is that these were not mere philosophical musings, but profound revelations about the continuity of consciousness beyond physical death. The Mahatmas, those enlightened beings who guided Helena's spiritual journey, revealed to her the multidimensional nature of existence that science is only now beginning to acknowledge. The soul, they told her, does not simply vanish upon the cessation of bodily functions, but rather transitions into higher vibrational states beyond the perception of ordinary senses. These masters, particularly Kuthumi and Maurya, transmitted knowledge that had been safeguarded in the sacred Himalayan retreats for millennia. They spoke of how consciousness exists independent of the physical vessel, something quantum physicists are now cautiously suggesting through theories of non-local consciousness. The masters described how the soul, upon physical death, enters what they called the Devachanic plane, a state of consciousness where the higher aspects of the mind process the experiences of the incarnation just completed. What makes these channeled teachings particularly remarkable is their detailed description of what modern researchers now document in near-death experiences. The masters described to Helena the initial disorientation, the panoramic life review, and the encounter with beings of light, all elements consistently reported by those who have clinically died and returned. Yet Helena recorded these descriptions nearly a century before the first scientific studies of NDEs began. The silver cord that connects the physical and astral bodies, the masters explained, gradually dissolves during the transition we call death. This concept, once dismissed as mystical fantasy, has curious parallels with what neuroscientists observe about the gradual shutdown of brain systems during the dying process. The most profound revelation from the masters concerned what they called akashic imprints, the idea that consciousness leaves energetic impressions in the fabric of reality itself. These impressions, they taught, are not lost, but continue to influence both the individual soul's journey and the collective consciousness of humanity. Contemporary researchers studying consciousness are now exploring similar concepts about information that persists beyond physical structures. What Helena could not have known when receiving these transmissions was how technological advancements would eventually begin to detect subtle energetic fields around the human body that persist even after clinical death. Kirlian photography, biofield measurements, and research into persistent electromagnetic patterns in previously occupied spaces all suggest that something indeed remains when the physical body expires. The masters emphasized to Helena that the death process is not instantaneous, but unfolds in stages, with consciousness gradually withdrawing from the physical senses and expanding into wider awareness. This teaching aligns remarkably with what hospice workers and thanatologists now observe about the systematic nature of the dying process. Perhaps most significantly, the masters spoke of consciousness as fundamental rather than emergent, meaning awareness is not produced by the brain, but rather channeled through it. This view, once considered fringe within scientific circles, is now being seriously reconsidered by researchers in quantum consciousness studies, who find that the materialist paradigm fails to account for numerous anomalous phenomena. As we delve deeper into these hidden prophecies, remember that truth often arrives long before the world is ready to receive it. The wisdom channeled through Helena continues to illuminate our understanding of life's greatest mystery, speaking across time to validate what many experience but few can articulate, that consciousness continues its journey uninterrupted by what we call death. In the sacred teachings transmitted to Helena, the ascended masters revealed a profound cartography of the soul's journey beyond physical dissolution. This cosmic itinerary, once dismissed as mere speculation, now finds striking parallels in contemporary accounts from those who have glimpsed beyond the threshold. The masters spoke of the initial stage of transition, what they called Kamaloka, a transitional realm where the soul gradually disentangles from earthly attachments. This process, they explained, is neither instantaneous nor uniform, but varies according to one's spiritual development and the nature of their attachments. The soul must shed its lower vestures, they instructed Helena, like layers of an onion being peeled away to reveal the luminous essence within. What makes these teachings remarkable is how they anticipated what thanatologists and researchers of consciousness now document: the systematic nature of consciousness expansion during the transition. Dr. Raymond Moody's groundbreaking research with thousands of near-death experiences revealed precisely this staged progression that Helena described over a century earlier, from the initial separation, through a dark transitional space, into encounters with light beings, and ultimately facing a comprehensive life review. The masters detailed to Helena how, during this journey, the soul encounters what they termed thought forms, energetic constructs created by one's beliefs, expectations, and cultural conditioning. These thought forms, they explained, can either facilitate or temporarily impede the soul's progress. This teaching eerily prefigures what researchers now observe about how religious and cultural expectations shape the specific imagery of near-death experiences while maintaining consistent structural elements across cultures. Perhaps most significantly, the masters revealed that time operates differently in post-physical realms. What seems an eternity to the disembodied consciousness, they told Helena, may be but moments in earthly time. This temporal distortion is precisely what quantum physicists now theorize about consciousness existing outside our conventional space-time framework, a dimension where past, present, and future may be experienced simultaneously. The Devachanic plane, a higher vibrational state that follows Kamaloka, was described to Helena as a realm where the soul assimilates the wisdom of its recent incarnation. Here, the masters explained, the higher aspects of mental and spiritual development are strengthened while the soul prepares for its next embodiment. This concept finds curious resonance with psychiatrist Dr. Brian Weiss's regression therapy findings, where subjects report interlife planning periods remarkably similar to Helena's Devachanic descriptions. The masters spoke of guardian entities who assist souls during this transition, beings who have evolved beyond the cycle of physical incarnation, yet choose to serve as guides. These descriptions align with what thousands report in contemporary near-death accounts: encounters with luminous beings who communicate telepathically and emanate unconditional love. Helena was also taught about the Sutratma, the thread of consciousness that maintains continuity throughout all incarnations. This concept of an unbroken awareness that persists beyond physical death challenges conventional neuroscience, yet aligns with emerging theories of consciousness as a field phenomenon rather than a product of brain activity. The masters revealed how the panoramic life review serves not as judgment, but as compassionate education, allowing the soul to experience the effects of its actions from the perspective of those it influenced. This teaching preceded by decades the consistent reports from near-death experiencers who describe exactly such a non-judgmental, yet profoundly emotional review process. As consciousness research advances, we find ourselves circling back to these ancient truths, rediscovering through scientific inquiry what the masters imparted through direct transmission. The boundaries between mysticism and quantum mechanics grow increasingly permeable as both domains point toward consciousness as the fundamental substrate of existence, persisting beyond the brief flicker of physical embodiment into realms we are only beginning to comprehend. The wisdom transmitted through Helena concerning the cyclical nature of soul evolution represents perhaps her most profound contribution to our understanding of existence beyond physical death. The masters revealed to her a cosmic mechanism of spiritual refinement that operates with mathematical precision across multiple lifetimes, a system now finding validation through unexpected channels of modern research. The soul, the masters explained, does not merely exist between incarnations, but actively participates in planning its next embodiment. This revolutionary concept suggested that our current life circumstances are not random occurrences, but carefully orchestrated opportunities for spiritual growth. What makes this teaching particularly prescient is how it anticipates the consistent reports from hypnotic regression subjects who describe detailed pre-birth planning sessions where they selected their parents, life challenges, and key relationships to facilitate specific lessons. The masters spoke of what they called karmic seeds, energetic imprints created by past actions that germinate in future lifetimes when conditions become favorable for their expression. This subtle mechanism, they taught, ensures that no experience is wasted and no action without consequence. The universe, they told Helena, maintains perfect accounting through the law of karma, which operates not as punishment, but as educational feedback. This teaching preceded by decades the groundbreaking work of Dr. Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia, whose meticulous documentation of over 3,000 cases of children with verifiable past life memories demonstrated patterns consistent with karmic continuation. Children born with unusual phobias, birthmarks corresponding to fatal wounds, and intimate knowledge of distant families, all pointing toward consciousness carrying specific imprints across the threshold of death. The masters revealed to Helena that between incarnations, souls undergo a period of assessment and planning in collaboration with advanced guides. During this interlife state, the soul reviews its progress and determines what experiences would best facilitate its continued evolution. This concept finds remarkable parallels in the consistent reports from deep, hypnotic regression subjects who describe exactly such planning councils, a phenomenon documented extensively by researchers like Dr. Michael Newton, whose work with thousands of subjects revealed strikingly consistent accounts of the between-lives state. Helena was taught that souls often reincarnate in groups, clusters of beings who journey together across multiple lifetimes, alternating roles to facilitate each other's growth. This teaching anticipated what regression therapists now commonly encounter: subjects who recognize the same souls appearing in different relationships across multiple lifetimes, maintaining consistent energetic signatures despite changing external identities. Perhaps most significantly, the masters explained that karma operates not through external judgment, but through the soul's own higher awareness. The soul, they told Helena, seeks balance and completion through its own divine intelligence. This self-regulating aspect of karmic law finds curious validation in the consistent reports from near-death experiencers who describe experiencing the effects of their actions from the perspective of those they impacted, all without external condemnation. The masters revealed that certain karmic patterns can manifest as physical conditions in subsequent lives, a teaching once dismissed as superstition, but now finding support in epigenetic research showing how trauma can affect gene expression across generations. The emerging field of psychoneuroimmunology further suggests mechanisms by which consciousness might influence physical development, potentially explaining phenomena that regression therapists regularly encounter. Helena was also taught that souls can occasionally maintain awareness of their continuity across lifetimes, a phenomenon now documented in thousands of cases of spontaneous past life recall, particularly among young children. Dr. Jim Tucker's continuation of Stevenson's work at the University of Virginia has compiled over 2,500 cases of children with detailed memories of previous lives, often including verifiable information they could not have obtained through normal means. As we witness the convergence of ancient wisdom and contemporary research, we begin to recognize the profound implications of Helena's channeled knowledge, that our existence extends far beyond the brief interval of a single lifetime, participating in a grand evolutionary journey guided by principles of perfect balance and infinite compassion, a cosmic dance of souls moving ever toward greater awareness and expression of divine potential. In the most closely guarded teachings transmitted to Helena, the masters revealed esoteric knowledge about death that transcends conventional understanding, knowledge that was meant to transform how humanity perceives its journey through physical existence. These sacred doctrines, once accessible only to initiated disciples, contain insights now finding remarkable validation through contemporary scientific inquiry. The masters imparted to Helena that what we call death is merely a transition of consciousness from one vibrational state to another, a change of perception rather than cessation of being. The physical body, they explained, is but the densest of several interpenetrating vehicles of consciousness. Puista. This multi-dimensional model of human existence anticipates what quantum physicists now theorize about consciousness, potentially operating across multiple dimensions beyond the four we commonly perceive. In the esoteric teachings, Helena received detailed information about what the masters called the etheric double, an energetic template that precedes and survives physical form. This subtle body, they taught, withdraws from the physical vessel during the death process in a systematic sequence, beginning with the extremities and culminating in the heart and head centers. What makes this teaching particularly prescient is how it aligns with what hospice workers consistently observe about the systematic nature of the dying process, with consciousness appearing to withdraw in precisely the pattern described. The masters revealed that consciousness, during the transition, passes through what they termed the astral plane, a dimensional frequency where thought instantly manifests as experiential reality. This teaching provides a fascinating framework for understanding the consistent reports from near-death experiencers who describe environments responding directly to their thoughts and emotions. Dr. Kenneth Ring's research with hundreds of NDEs documented exactly this phenomenon of thought-responsive environments, validating what Helena recorded more than a century earlier. Perhaps most revolutionary was the master's insistence that consciousness is not produced by the brain but rather focused through it, like light through a prism. The brain, they told Helena, does not generate awareness, but rather limits and localizes infinite consciousness into individual expression. This view, once considered mystical speculation, finds growing support in quantum theories of non-local consciousness and persistent anomalies that materialist models fail to explain, such as verified veridical perceptions during clinical death when brain activity has ceased. The esoteric doctrine transmitted to Helena emphasized the continuity of self-awareness through the death transition. The experience of dying, the masters explained, is not one of diminishment, but of expansion, the limitations of physical perception falling away to reveal wider fields of awareness. This teaching precisely mirrors what researchers like Dr. Peter Fenwick have documented through interviews with the dying, who often report expanded awareness and perception as physical senses diminish. Helena received detailed teachings about what the masters called thought shells, energetic imprints left behind by powerful emotions and thoughts that can persist in physical locations after death. These residual energies, they taught, are often mistaken for the continued presence of the deceased when they are merely echoes of consciousness. This concept offers a sophisticated framework for understanding certain types of apparitions and hauntings that appear mechanical in nature, a distinction that parapsychologists now make between interactive and residual phenomena. The masters revealed to Helena that the moment of death brings a release of accumulated wisdom from the lifetime just completed, a download of experience into the permanent aspect of consciousness. This teaching finds curious validation in the life review phenomenon consistently reported in near-death experiences, where subjects describe accessing their entire life's memories simultaneously in a non-linear fashion, something conventional neuroscience struggles to explain through standard memory models. As consciousness research advances through technologies that measure subtle energy fields and quantum effects in biological systems, we find ourselves approaching a scientific framework that can finally accommodate what Helena received through direct transmission. The boundary between mysticism and cutting-edge science grows increasingly permeable as researchers in quantum biology, consciousness studies, and near-death research discover mechanisms that validate these ancient esoteric doctrines. What emerges from this convergence is a profound realization that the wisdom channeled through Helena represents not mystical speculation, but precise knowledge about the nature of consciousness and its journey beyond physical dissolution. Knowledge that arrived a century before science developed frameworks sophisticated enough to comprehend it. As we stand at this threshold between worlds, we begin to recognize that the greatest mystery is not death itself, but rather how we have managed to forget these eternal truths about our own infinite nature. If these revelations about Helena's hidden afterlife prophecies have awakened something within you, this is just the beginning of our journey together. Subscribe now to receive profound spiritual insights that conventional sources won't reveal. Share your own experiences in the comments below. Your perspective may be the missing piece another seeker needs. The masters taught that wisdom grows when shared among receptive minds. Like, comment, and join our community of truth seekers as we continue exploring the mysteries that connect this world with the next. The knowledge is calling to you. Will you answer?